Hi, Prime Roasters. Thank you for coming back on for another episode with me and Chris here. We've got a very special guest I'm going to introduce in a second. But Chris, I want to ask you and all our Prime Roasters if you've been following the news and what's been coming out of New York City with Daniel Penny over the week, because he's a freed man. Half the country is really happy about it, while the other half is still crying, and they're being crybabies still. I mean, the story is over. The guy is freed, and yet they're still going on and on about getting him. I actually think we should run him for Congress. He's got so much likability right now, especially amongst the Republican Party. I think he can run for Alvin Bragg. That's the Manhattan DA. I think he could run for his seat or for a congressional seat. What do you think?
Oh, I think he could beat Fat Al somewhere else. Manhattan, you know what's going to happen if Alvin Bragg is somehow forced out of his position, which he won't be, because I'm sure he's popular among the leftist types in Manhattan. They're going to bring in somebody even worse. The only thing Alvin Bragg can say is, hey, hey, hey. Well, I'm sorry, wrong. Fat Albert, I suppose.
Is that Fat Albert?
Wait, that's Fat Albert, not Fat Alvin. Different story, different day. But I'll tell you what, same build. I'll tell you, also he's not as cool. In fact, I will even say this, to use a Fat Albert joke: Alvin Bragg is like school in the summer.
What?
Alvin Bragg is like school in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
No class. Okay. Yeah, see?
Yeah, it took me a second, guys. I don't know.
That's a Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids joke from the 70s. And that I used to love that show, but that they used. I remember that distinctively. Anyway, Daniel Penny's, that should never have gone to trial in the first place.
No, and you know, some inside politics here. Daniel Penny's defense lawyers, including Tom Kenneth of Reiser and Kenneth PC. Well, Tom Kenneth, I worked with him when he was running against Alvin Bragg for Manhattan DA. I think now he's pretty much secured any seat he wants in America for defending and successfully defending Daniel Penny. I love it. I love the whole story. I think it's a great rise to fame. But I want to bring on our next guest before we pop on this great clip that we're going to show everyone. This is my very dear friend, Steve Gill. He is a Tennessee-based conservative lawyer, writer, and he's a great radio host. If you haven't seen him yet, he's also all over the television networks around the world. This guy never stops working. Steve, please join us.
Hey, glad to be with you guys. And by the way, you know, the Fat Albert show was before Bill Cosby started pitching Jello, so it was a long time ago.
I remember that, yes, and it was way before the Cosby show. Some might remember, and it was after I Spy.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so somebody was saying, I was on another show, Wake Up Patriots. I work with Tony Schaefer on that. It was Ed Henry's video podcast every day, video live stream. We had a lot of fun on that one day, and I think I brought up the idea of Bill Cosby doing some more movies, or somebody brought that up, and I was thinking, you know, I don't think he's going to be able to do that. Hollywood won't let him, but I might want to see Leonard Part 7.
Oh. That's your favorite Bill Cosby film, Leonard?
Certainly better than Ghost Dad, but they could do a sequel to that. Ghost Grandpa. There we go.
Yeah, no, it would be nice to see Bill kind of make a weird comeback. I know, you know, that's very un-me too of me to say, but, you know, maybe. I mean, he still may be funny. I don't know. I mean, but he was America's dad for many, many decades, right?
You know, one of my favorite memes is a picture of Howard Cosell between O.J. Simpson and Bruce Jenner, and the meme says, "Guys, 20 years from now, you won't believe where these guys have ended up."
I love that one. I've seen that one. I was a big fan of Howard Cosell too, especially when I loved him on anything he did, but I also liked when he was a guest star on The Odd Couple. Him and Oscar Madison used to go at it all the time.
You guys are dating yourself. I am so sorry. I want to keep up, but I can't.
This was when TV was black and white, Angie. Something you're
not come on. With. Never happened. Never happened.
It's before remote controls. Well, you kids don't know nothing from funny or nothing from real television.
Actually,
you never had a rotary
Chris,
phone.
That's when us kids were the remote control. When Dad would say, "Hey, get up and change."
Yes, exactly. You know who also doesn't remember anything about this sort of thing? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who had to mouth off about Daniel Penny. This woman always talks about things she doesn't know anything about.
If we do not want violence on our subways, and the point of our justice system is a level of accountability to prevent a person who does not have remorse about taking another person's life. I mean, even people.
All right, let's stop here. Check this out. She's talking about Daniel Penny not having remorse about taking somebody else's life. Well, first off, the guy walked off the subway car. He walked out. He was alive afterwards. That's number one. Number two, this man was saving people. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez probably, is she remorseful about the fact that this guy could have killed 2 or 3 people? This guy was threatening people. Have you ever? Maybe she's too privileged to have been in the subway since she's become a congresswoman, I suppose.
In her Tesla.
Oh,
I love it. No,
maybe
I
she's
mean,
got one of those bumper stickers.
okay, politically, what is she trying to get at here? Right? I mean, like, she's ridden a subway before. She's from New York. She's from Queens, the Bronx. She's, Jenny from the block, right? She's
Yeah.
ridden subways. Now, anyone who's ever stepped foot in a New York City subway knows to basically be on high alert always, because stuff is happening there. I don't care if you were riding, during the good old Bloomberg years, but things happen. So I don't understand, what is she trying to maybe go to her base and say, look, you guys are subway riders, you don't deserve to like die in the hands of a white man? Like, what is she trying to get at with this video, Steve?
Well, first of all, she's wanting the subways to be less violent, and yet this guy that Penny subdued has like 40 different charges that have been lodged against him. He was threatening violence. People on that subway were terrified of him, including Daniel Penny. Let her start riding subways without any security, without any personnel at her disposal, and see how safe she feels. We were talking earlier about her needing a new acronym instead of AOC. That's kind of dated and old at this point. I would recommend POS, but as a family show, I can't define what the words stand for. So instead, let's go for PIW. PIW is how she sees herself, as president in waiting. The Democrats are talking about her running in 4 years. They deserve this. If you want to see somebody that's going to do worse and be less likable than Kamala Harris, it would be PIW AOC.
I love it. I love it. She is president in waiting. She really is testing the waters for this. I mean, does she really believe like a socialist America is still a popular thing? No, but that's her brand. That's the only thing that she has. She can't pivot from that brand.
There's a socialist industry out there. There are people who are socialists just to make money off of that. How did Bernie Sanders make his bones? All right, besides his wife's fortune. How did Bernie Sanders make his bones? He preached socialism and sold loads of books about it and made lots of appearances. And he speaks. The man gets paid a lot to be a socialist. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she got a big raise from bartender salary to the 170 some odd thousand a year that Congress members make just by acting like a socialist. Now she's wearing those free gift perk dresses for what, I don't know, $30,000, $3,000, $4,000 each time.
Campaign violation.
She's making money several other ways. She's in demand. Trust me, there's a huge industry when it comes to socialism. Look at all these TikTokers that make all sorts of money from their advertising or whatever views they get just by spewing socialist garbage. They're really the capitalists around here now, aren't they?
Steve, would you vote for her in 2028?
I think she's completely misread the election results this time. She and others in the Democratic Party keep wanting to move further to the left, double down on the failed policies. Look, Biden and Kamala Harris failed because their personalities were bad. He was, dementia ridden, but it was the policies that caused them to lose as badly as they did, more than anything else. And yet again, the Democrats keep trying to double down on the policies that failed, open border, the failure to protect our cities and to make our cities less crime ridden. She's wanting to double down on the people that have actually tried to save people from violence. The foreign wars, the endless money going all over the world. Just this week, Joe Biden gave $1 billion to Africa, is releasing the sanctions on Iran to give them billions, has put billions more into Ukraine, promised a $50 billion loan. I want to see the loan documents and the security for that loan to Ukraine, while people in North Carolina are literally dying and freezing to death in tents because our government's not stepping up and taking care of those who were ravaged by Hurricane Helene.
I
That
know.
sounds like a cue, if ever I heard one. Joe Biden was talking about the very thing you were discussing earlier in the week because he wanted to pledge all that money to Syria and, of course, more money to Ukraine. I want you to hear what he said actually when he decided to give this money to Syria after the Al Qaeda late takeover. Check this out.
The new constitution, a new government that serves all Syrians. This process will be determined by the Syrian people themselves.
All right. Since when does a terrorist organization or a terrorist organization light take over a country, taking advantage of a huge civil war, and tell people, all right, now let's set up a constitution by the people and for the people, and we'll set up a nice government so everybody's going to be very happy. And this guy actually believes that, or is trying to get people to believe that.
What's worse than what he believes is that apparently the State Department was justifying Israel invading Syria, the same State Department and United Nations that has condemned Russia from taking the Russian part of Ukraine. They're saying that it's okay for Israel to have invaded Syria because there are terrorists on the border. Hey, State Department, thanks to you guys and our CIA, there are terrorists all over Syria now. They've taken over the whole country, not just the border area next to Israel.
And think about it this way. He's actually trying to tell us, well, first off, again, on the way out, these people are trying to stir more conflict. We talked about this. You got Ukraine. You got, of course, what's going on in the Middle East. Who's going to use this to their advantage? And another way to spend taxpayers' money. And heck, why not another bit for? Another huge bit for Ukraine as well.
Another
By the way, Joe
$1
Biden-
billion as
Joe
a
Biden,
loan.
guys, also got so excited about pardoning turkeys a couple of weeks ago at Thanksgiving. He decided to pardon everybody. First he pardoned Hunter. He's going to pardon himself down the line. And then this week he's pardoned 39 folks and given clemency to 1,300 others. And the White House is saying there is more to come.
Woo!
Oh, no, and they're going to be preemptive pardons. We're going to get into that, but I just want to go one more thing here. Ukraine, was it $260 billion already going to Ukraine at this point, right?
At least.
Who's counting anymore?
Let's put this into perspective. That is more than 162 billion more than Dr. Evil wanted when he held the world hostage for $100 billion.
Oh, I wish we could vote that guy in. Best eyebrows ever.
Well, I'm sorry, you couldn't. You had your chance when Kamala ran. I guess that just didn't happen now, did it?
Yeah, same suit.
We may have tagged the wrong guy for that murder of the United Healthcare executive. I think his eyebrows look remarkably similar to Luigi Mangione's.
Ooh. I was hoping the guy pull out a trumpet. Well, that's Chuck Mangione. That's a different name. Either way, the funny thing is this guy might not even be the right guy. And if he is, boy, oh boy, there's leftists that got tattoos of the man's face. That's going to be quite embarrassing in the future. That won't age well.
No, people are dressing up as the United Healthcare killer, alleged killer, on the streets of New York. It's fashionable. I don't understand what's going on in my former hometown, because why would you do that? Why is killing CEOs of healthcare companies a fashionable thing? But it's become that. And AOC, again, said something really dumb and decided, yeah, no, we should be doing that kind of stuff. What? No, I mean, that's inciting violence. I mean, these guys really just don't know the line anymore. It's like killing is fashionable. Oh man, we really are in the hunter. What's that movie called? The Hunting Game? No, the Hunter's Game. No.
Or the Hunger Games?
The Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games. You know what? And we don't even
Crazies.
have Donald Sutherland anymore. And that's the worst part about the whole thing. You bring up the fact that it's fashionable and hip amongst the millennial crowd as far as loving these killers and things like that. Well, unfortunately, we've instructed poor Piers' face, but during a recent Piers Morgan show, we have, let's show this off. In fact, there's this millennial journalist who was the second one, or the one next to Piers Morgan, was on his show. Her name's Taylor Lorenz. She is some chick from the Washington Post. They thought she'd be the millennial thought leader, and all she does is spew out this garbage. And again, she was celebrating on the Piers Morgan show the death of the CEO, and she was talking about how people have expressed great joy in this. So let's hear this.
Why would you be in such a celebratory mood about the execution of another human being? Aren't you supposed to be on the caring, sharing left, where you believe in the sanctity of life?
I do believe in the sanctity of life, and I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy. Unfortunately, because it feels like
serious.
I mean,
joy. Imagine that. The only joy I would feel is Joy Reid at this point, but again, different story, different. We'll get into that.
That sounds like sexual harassment if somebody's feeling up Joy Reid.
Oh, okay. It's also something to lose your breakfast about too.
Joy
I
in a
guess I would
man's
say
execution.
maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy.
Now, see, there we go. This millennial reporter, she's the one who's famous for taking pot shots at whoever she wants to, and then when she gets called out for being incorrect or saying something wrong or basically saying something rather stupid, she cries behind some other leftist during some kind of interview and says, "They're bullying me."
And the idea that people are going out and getting tattoos of this guy. The left is always big on having 48-hour, 72-hour waiting periods before people buy guns. We should impose a 48 or 72-hour waiting period before you can get a tattoo of any celebrity after a news event. I still regret my Barney the dinosaur tramp stamp, which is why I don't drink tequila anymore.
Oh no! Well, at least it's better than a Barney.
Let's see it, Steve. Turn around.
Only people who look at my OnlyFans page have ever seen my Barney.
It's Steve's tramp stamp.
Now that's gonna be. We're gonna trend that on X.
Steve's tramp hashtag Steve's tramp stamp. There we go.
Yeah, both of my followers on OnlyFans. Nobody wants to see this. Nobody.
Well, you did mention the several turkeys that Joe Biden pardoned a while back. He also pardoned a bunch of people recently. Again, these are normal pardons. The Hunter Biden pardon was a preemptive pardon. Now, a lot of these corrupt politicians are lining up to discuss that as well. Even, there's Dr. Jerome Corsi floated an article saying that there's a little scuttlebutt about Obama going through Susan Rice and saying, "Oh yeah, maybe I could use one of those preemptive pardons." People who are going to be investigated and held accountable are going to be are trying to get Joe Biden to pardon him. This includes, of course, and we love to make fun of the View, so we might as well do two things at once. Bill Clinton on the Christmas are they? I'm surprised they're allowed to put Christmas decorations on the View anyway, but that's another story. This is
a Satanist show. Okay, go ahead.
This is Bill Clinton telling his fellow chickens at the View that maybe Hillary should get preemptively pardoned.
Mr. President, Donald Trump will be returning to the White House, unburdened by the pressure of reelection.
This is Bill Clinton thinking, there are so many women out here, and I don't want to hit on any one of them. It's the weirdest moment of my life.
Look, he's had to sit on his hands.
Sweeping immunity granted to him, I believe, by the Supreme Court, and an alleged enemies list we're hearing. Do you think it would be wise of President Biden to preemptively pardon any potential targets? What about your wife, Hillary Clinton? She apparently is on Kash Patel's list.
For what?
Yeah.
He wants to throw up.
I got a problem with her because first
he's like, hey, you know what? Don't pardon her. I don't have to deal with her anymore. That would be terrific. He's like, but no, I can't say that on the air. I'll say something else.
Didn't do anything wrong.
Of course.
Second, she followed the rules exactly as they were written.
Mm-hmm.
Third, Trump's State Department found. They remember how the emails were such a big issue in 2016? Oh, yeah. Trump's State Department found that Hillary sent and received exactly 0 classified.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Two things about this. We all know that a lot of stuff was erased. Okay, we know that all this stuff happened. We can get into the rabbit hole and all the way, the exact ways that the Podestas, with the Podesta and Hillary and the entire crowd there just bleached out everything. And I know, no, if you're on the left and you're trying to pull well, they literally throw bleach at, no, that's an expression. They cleaned everything up. Now, I thought that the leftists didn't like this little symbol here that Bill Clinton showed.
That's pretty good.
By
That's
the way,
kind of
have you noticed
new tramp stamp.
how much they hate Trump? If you look at the Christmas trees, there aren't any red balls on their Christmas trees because they hate red America, the red state, and Trump's red tie so much. They don't even have any red balls on their Christmas trees. And listening to Clinton reminds me of that time when he was asked by a reporter about the fact that he was going to be in California and Hillary was going to be in New York, and how he thought their bicoastal relationship would go. And he said, well, I really don't know about a bicoastal relationship. I'm not really into that, but I might watch.
That's a good one.
That's a pretty good impression.
Oh, and of course, the red's already in there anyway. It's the funny thing. They're the real red. I mean, look again. I'm not even going to get into that. But let's move forward here.
Emails on her personal device. It was a made up phony story.
Yeah.
So, I guess if Cash Patel is determined to make one up, he could do it. But I think if President Biden wanted to talk to me about that, I would talk to him about it. But I don't think I should be giving public advice on the pardon power. I think it's a very personal thing. But
of course. And by the way, Bill Clinton, he of the sneaky pardons right before he left as well. I'm going to say it one more time. This is the man who traded pardons for votes for his wife, Hillary Clinton, when she ran for Senate in New York. Was let out 3 guys from the Procter and Gamble scandal who happened to be part of a very large Hasidic community in New York State. In return, the leadership instructed its followers to vote for Hillary Clinton. So this guy is as unscrupulous as Joe Biden is, and he's sitting there saying, I don't want to give him any advice, but do what I did, do stupid stuff. We're fine with it.
By the way, guys, I hope that the media will try to track and follow, some of these people that got the 39 pardons, the 1,300 or so clemencies. The Biden team has a long history of trading different favors for board seats, for benefits. How many of the Biden family members are going to get on corporate boards somehow related to the pardons and the clemencies he's just distributed? That's what we saw Hunter Biden. He's on the Burisma board, had no knowledge at all about energy policy. Look at the Biden family members, if there's any way to track it when they leave office, who will be put on different corporate boards as a payback for these pardons, for this clemency, or anything else that the Biden administration has benefited from or given out while he's been in office. Let's watch those corporate boards.
Yeah, let's watch those. So I have a question for you, Steve. You were rubbing elbows with Tom Holman, our incoming border czar, last night. I want to ask you, he's doing some interesting moves, like political moves that I've not seen party leaders do. He is also speaking with, very lefty mayors and governors and, getting local law enforcement in these blue cities involved. And he's able to do it because he's Tom Holman. Too bad we can't curse on the show, but he is an MFer for sure. I love him. What was that like? What did he tell you and what did you learn?
First of all, he was the first pick for his cabinet that Donald Trump announced, which I then chose the priority of border security, of dealing with the flood of illegal immigrants that have come into this country. He made it clear that they're going to do shock and awe from day one. They're going to get rid of the criminal illegals. They're going to get rid of the people who've already been ordered to be deported and have ignored that and not left. He's going to find the 350,000 children that the Biden administration has lost, and they're going to shut down the border. If I have a pipe burst in my house, I don't start putting up new wallboard or painting before I stop the flood of water. We got to stop the flood of what's coming in and then start looking at exporting and deporting people. And there'll be a lot of self-deportation. He made that clear last night as well.
Really?
That if we will stop the benefits to people who have entered illegally, then they will go home. If we'll stop the remittances that are being taken by people working here illegally, being here illegally, going back to these countries, first of all, we'll collect a lot of money that we can use to secure the border and pay our border agents more and maybe benefit Americans. So they've got a lot of plans and they're going to hit it from day one.
Oh, they have another plan too. You know how every once in a while you get a bunch of whiny lefties who don't understand or can't sing the national anthem because it's too difficult for them. We're going to change the national anthem. Well, apparently, the Trump administration will change it to "Illegal Alien" by Genesis. It's no fun being an illegal alien.
That style's coming back. I see a lot of guys sporting that kind of mustache.
You know
for
what? I look
sure.
good. I looked good in one of those mustaches.
Did you? You had one?
That's right. No, I had it once, and I just figured I look terrible in this, or I look kind of good, but too good. So
Tom Selleck is the only guy that looks good in that mustache. Everybody else looks like a porn star.
Oh, wait, that mustache. Oh, okay. I was thinking the one that Phil Collins was sporting.
Man, what a great image.
Oh.
Well, we're running a little bit low on time, but we have to get to like some 70s and 80s tunes, right, Chris? You've got like a whole lineup of like cancelable songs for us, or what do you got for us?
Well, first off, I want to get to this, and this is something else because I wanted to segue in this way. Joy Reid Joy Reid found a new scapegoat, by the way, for the elections this time out. She found somebody else to blame, and I'll bet you are wondering who that is. It is us. It's Generation X. Apparently, Kamala Harris losing isn't the fault of the garbage candidate she was, but it's us.
F your feelings, latchkey kids who came up on Dynasty, Dallas, and The Apprentice, who were the lone age group that voted in a majority for Trump. A majority of Gen X voted to turn America into an autocracy.
Oh, wait. Autocracy? You mean one of those where you throw political prisoners in jail just for protesting? Oh, wait, yeah, that's what she voted for.
And to condemn our kids and grandkids to a far-right Supreme Court, probably for the rest of their lives.
Well, far right to her is probably just somebody slightly to the right of Joseph Stalin, but that's another story for another day. And think about it. So it's Angie, it's our fault.
Yeah, Gen X, man, they're like the baddies here. Okay. I mean, at what point is there going to be accountability to the last 4 years? I don't know if they'll ever do it. That's fine, but they're trying to now rewrite history and blame it on people like me. We're in our 40s. We're in our 40s and 50s. We're kind of sure, throw more words at us. I don't know who's watching her anymore. Does she even have an audience? And isn't MSC on the? It's just
we just watch her for laughs.
Really, when you look at the ratings, Home Shopping Network cooking shows are outpolling MSNBC, NBC, CNN. I think I saw one of the reports that in that critical 25-54 demographic, it's either MSNBC or CNN is down to 39,000 viewers. You have small rural radio stations that pull bigger listenership than what they're pulling nationally with their anemic programming.
Amazing.
Amazing. And the only one who looks up to Joy Reid when it comes to the ratings is Keith Olbermann. I'm sorry.
John Oliver.
John Oliver. See, the thing is, he looks like Keith Olbermann, so I confuse the two sometimes. But yeah, they both are like that. But yes, this is John Oliver.
Are those the Rachel Maddow's glasses that so many of these liberal guys wear to try and look like Rachel Maddow?
Well, like Mark Cuban, but Mark Cuban's just going through the transition anyway. John Oliver's always had those. Keith Olbermann's always had those. I think Oliver is trying to look like Keith Olbermann.
Yeah.
I think combined they might reach Joy Reid's ratings.
What do you think is going to happen to all these guys, right? They're kind of out of a job these days. They're not, do you think they're going to be able to keep going on and on railing on Trump for the next 4 years and thinking that, they're going to have super support from Americans? Because I worry for them. I worry about their job security because, they're fun and they're great for prime roast.
Right, and they're blaming Generation X, and this is why, because we're edgy. We have cool stuff. We didn't care about people's whiny feelings when it came to music, when it came to television shows, and when it came to comedians. And this is why people blame us now. We're the new boomers, I guess. These kids are saying, "Oh, Generation X, they made things too hard and too intimidating for us." Like music. Now, I saw this blog, Society of Rock, 7 80s hits that are now considered offensive today. And I figured, all right, well, maybe Darling Nikki's in there somewhere, right? So let's go down the list here and see what these whiny millennials or Gen Zers think is too offensive for their soft little ears. Don't stand so close to me by the police. This has always bothered me when people look up this song, because it's about a book. It's about a novel. It's about a classic novel. But apparently it's not 7 seconds long on TikTok, so these kids have no idea what it is. And by the way, the whole thing about the teacher, he was going after the young Lolita girl. Lolita was pretty horrible if you think about it, if you read the book, right?
Yeah, I mean, she was the mastermind in that whole story.
I mean, she was the evil one. Here's another one. Steve, I think you'll like this one. Dude Looks Like a Lady by Aerosmith. That's effective because the LGBTXQL alpha gamma ray community wouldn't like it.
I think Dude Looks Like a Lady should have been the theme song for the Biden White House. When you look at some of the leaders they put in place, both in the military, the woke military, and in healthcare, I think that should have been their theme song. Replace Hail to the Chief with Dude Looks Like a Lady.
I don't think so. It's more like Dude Doesn't Look Like a Lady.
It's more like Dude Looks Like Jill Biden, who's running the country.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Don't you love the meme, though, of her looking lovingly at Donald Trump and then him doing the meme about trying to promote his new fragrance? Again, nobody's a better troller than Trump. Although I'd have to put in a pitch that Kim Jong-un has gone to the school of Trump trolling. When South Korea was having some issues last week politically, and the parliament was trying to push out the president, and the president declared martial law, Kim Jong-un offered to send 20,000 North Korean troops to South Korea if the president needed some help down there. He's been going to the Trump school of trolling.
I love it.
Great.
Master
Great job.
troller.
Great job. And at the risk of sounding like, oh, these right-wingers love dictators. Hey, you know what? You got to give them that one. Money for Nothing. You'd think that's an innocent little song, but it does have one word in it that apparently the alphabet group didn't like. So apparently, Mark Knopfler, according to this blog, recalled facing backlash even back in the 80s. A gay newspaper editor objected to the one line that said, the little, I can't say it, with the earring and the makeup. Yeah, buddy, that's his own hair. In fact, I believe MTV cut out that verse when they played it afterwards. MTV was woke before woke was in fashion. It was the beginning of political correctness in the mid-'80s.
Well, yeah, MTV was mostly incorrect. But what happened to MTV? I miss all these like music videos. I miss all that stuff. Like now you can, it's like, is MTV still a thing? I mean, I actually have friends who still work there, so I know they still exist. But like, I don't know, what are they doing these days? Is it still like, are we gonna have a blockbuster comeback for MTV?
I'm going to tell you, here in Nashville, Music City, a big part of it is that the record companies stopped producing expensive videos to promote the songs because they didn't need to keep doing that. They were putting whatever 5 songs they want to play in 1 hour, and people were putting on their playlist what they wanted to listen to rather than what the record companies were promoting. So they stopped promoting and producing these expensive videos, and that probably killed it as much as anything. By the way, these same whiners, Chris, over these songs, can you imagine if they edited down the movies we loved? Blazing Saddles would be 3 minutes long if these guys edited out all the offensive stuff.
Yeah, we're going to do another show about that. We have to sit down and do that all together just for a full roast. Okay, 1 in a Million by Guns N' Roses. Apparently, I don't remember this song all that much. It contains of course, it says homophobic, racist, and xenophobic slurs. Immigrants. Oh, I do remember this one. Makes no sense. Look, again, they're playing a character. This is. I don't. So here's the problem with the modern woke. They look at everything on the surface and they don't understand nuance. They don't care to look for context, and they just don't seem to care because again, they've grown up, and the next generations are even worse, growing up with little 30-second, 1-minute bites of information here and there. They think they have everything after that, and this is what they come up with.
Well, and to underline that, Chris, they're not even offended for themselves. So much of what they're offended for is they're offended for somebody else who's not even complaining. It's like the Washington Redskins. The Native American tribes weren't complaining. It was those complaining on their behalf, and now we're going to see the Washington Commanders apparently become back to the Washington Redskins. But it's this, I'm not offended personally, but I'm offended for you because you're not smart enough to be offended yourself.
See, now you know why nobody likes white people. There you go. It's always a self-righteous one. By the way, this snowflake used this song rather than on the same album. I used to love her, but I had to kill her. So anyway, I guess he's not
That's a
offended
good
by
song.
that. I love that song. Turning Japanese by the Vapors. Again, this is about the culture. It's about dating somebody who's from Japan and kind of realizing that there's a big gap between the cultures and public displays of affection. But again, it was about the stereotypes. Oh, the Guardian didn't like it.
The Guardian, the newspaper didn't like it? Are you kidding me?
Dated stereotype. Well, Guardian doesn't like anything that's not woke anyway.
Guardian, these days. I don't know. Japanese girls are hot. What do you think, Steve?
Well, maybe I learned something about Angie today.
I'm going to plead the fifth. I'm going to get one of those kanji tattoos on my arm to go with my my tramp stamp. The problem with those kanji tattoos is people get them and they're using the wrong character. So it says like, my breath stinks instead of I love peace.
I mean, that's the best part. I love seeing like these Asian characters on people who can't read what is actually being tattooed on them. I mean, I did remember one. It was something weird like ham sandwich. Like, why would you write ham sandwich on your face? Like, it just makes no sense.
Oh, maybe they get tattoos of Chi-Chi from Dragon Ball. There you go.
Oh, she's cute.
Oh yeah, well she's actually I think she's the strongest female that doesn't use ki on no, actually Videl is the strongest right now, but see, my knowledge of anime is leaking through, so my nerdiness is showing. But before Videl showed up, I think Chi-Chi was the strongest female character on the program.
By the way, it's a little bit of a mispronunciation, but I had friends suggesting I try yoga, and instead I thought, well, I'm gonna go try Tai Chi. I got kicked out of class the first 5 minutes because I was humming "Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting." Apparently, they don't appreciate that in Tai Chi classes.
You can't do that.
All right, here's another. Now get this. This one takes the nose. Offensive or not? Do they know it's Christmas by Band-Aid? Seriously, how can you get offended by a song that's read that still raises money, consistently raises money to try to help starving children?
Yeah. Where do you get these lists, Chris? Like, how do you find this? Is there like a troll site or is there like a woke site that you find this stuff in? I mean, I don't understand who makes these lists. Let's see the author of this article.
Oh, well,
it must be like Obama or
I think they're
Kamala.
embarrassed. Yeah, there we go. But the line was, "There won't be snow in Africa this Christmas time, and when nothing ever grows, no rain nor rivers flow." Well, you mean the desert. I think that the one, and it wasn't, apparently they're upset that it reduced Africa to a monolith of despair. But again, the context is there were starving children in Ethiopia, by the way, a communist country, mind you, maybe that's why they're offended. And the communist government there was hiding the tribes people, the nomadic people, the people who were natives in Ethiopia who were living in the desert. So the rest of the world couldn't see them until we found out. And then so there were several efforts to raise money for people there. And this was the big one right there. And they just don't get it. These kids just don't understand that this was, again, there were no stereotypes. It was basically, this is reality. Help them out. That's offensive to these kids. I think there's something wrong with them.
Well, and White Christmas has to be inherently racist because, it implies that white flakes matter.
Do you think these guys are, I mean, okay, in the new Trump administration, the next 4 years, do you think the woke are they going to like triple down and get even worse? Or do you think they're going to go quiet? Like, I'm just trying to figure out what to expect because Trump is going to be Trump and he's going to, be un-PC all over the place, right? Are we going to keep this like dance up or do you think they kind of die down a little bit because they're no longer in favor? Like AOC.
Yeah. Well, again, Alexander was a PIW because AOC.
Yes.
We shouldn't be giving we shouldn't be giving initials to people like her because she's not as cool as the notorious BIG or anything like that. She's just Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Here is another song that's offensive, and I actually agree with them for a different reason. 17 by Winger, which, by the way, they're doing, 17's too young, blah blah blah. No. Because I guess they forgot about the song Only 16. Anyway, no, Winger is offensive to rock and roll. So I agree with that. They were terrible. I'm sorry. Awful stuff. And a lot of the hair bands of the 80s were god awful. They
I'm
weren't
trying
as
to get
cool
the
as
hair today to go
they'll
that
never
high.
be as cool as the glam rock bands of the 70s. There were a few good outliers, but no. And that's it.
All
So
right.
this is, and there were plenty more. Boy, I suppose these guys would be really afraid of some of the songs in the 70s and 60s, like "I Will Follow Him" by Shelley Fabares. Boy, I bet the feminists didn't like that one, huh?
Yeah. All right. Well, look, thank you guys for coming on. I'm trying to do the 80s hair. I don't know if you've noticed. I want to see your I want to see your tattoos. There we go. I got something going on.
You need more Aquanet.
I used to do that stuff. I'm a girl from Queens, right? So we had the big, like the fan. I had the fan bangs. Do you remember those? Yeah, I had it all. Yeah, I'll dig up some photos. Yeah, we're going to have to do like a retro show at some point. But Steve Gill, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for all of your insight and, weird body part tattoos.
Yeah.
I think I might surprise you with some next week. Thank you again, Prime Roasters, for coming on. Do like and subscribe all of our stuff. And thank you for everyone. We hit 12,000 views last week. So thank you again
Not bad for some old people
watching us. And it's all your fault, Chris. I'm blaming Chris because everyone hates Chris.
Yes, that's true. Ask Chris Rock.
All right, guys. We'll see you again next week. Thank you, Steve. Please come back
Thanks,
often.
guys.
It would be nice to have you back on. All right, peace out, everyone.
Thanks, guys.